Let's get into it. I'm sorry if that clap was too loud. I apologize. That was a very loud one. Episode 555, Sold Not For Sale podcast. Joe Rogan, Dave Smith, and they're talking about Donald Trump. The last video I did about Trump, demonetized. Cool. No problem. Understand completely. But we do another one on Trump. That's what we do. We just do another one on him. And I got another one I might even release today. We don't stop talking about him. I'm just saying, right now it's going to be Dave Smith talking about how Trump beat the machine. They're going to be talking about how are they going to stop him from winning again. And I'm going to be playing a clip because I wanted to fact check Dave real quick. Some things that he says are like, whoa, did that really happen? And I'm going to play a clip of the head of intelligence supposedly, or well, I guess it came out that he lied to Congress. And I want to preface that with, I love life. I love life and I'm not depressed and I love living. I'm just saying, just bringing that up for no reason. But that's what I'm going to be showing you. And there's going to be 2 instances inside the Joe Rogan clip where I interrupt. I know we don't do that a lot on the channel, but this time I'm going to do it because there's one thing that Joe says, one thing that Dave says that I just want to not so much correct, but just throw in my 2 cents really quick, because the way that they're phrasing something is giving wind to that all this that's happening with Trump may just look conspiratorial or not really as it seems. I'm just gonna, well, you'll understand when we get there. But before I do all that, I got to bring you to the store. The presidential mugshot, of course, the absolute best mugshot in the world, Trump 2024. And we have the certified pureblood shirt, of course, for those of you that survived the pandemic, unscathed. Good for you. Keep strong over the next 6 months. You may have to be tested once again, and in more ways than one. And the Public Enemy #1 shirt, of course. Google the World Economic Forum. You'll understand why I'm framing this gentleman as Public Enemy #1. And of course, the Sold Not For Sale shirt, the original, the one that started it all. All of that's available on IamCoachColin.com. There's tank tops, hoodies, t-shirts. There's even a mug. So go check out the mug. If you want 10% off of anything you just saw and more, all you got to do is put in the discount code IamCoachColin. That's it. All capital letters, all one word, 1 L in the name Colin. That gets you 10% off. You're welcome. And if you've done that with us already, thank you so much. You have no idea how much your support means. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's get into this clip.
Yeah. Just like, there was a lot to that. I mean, look, part of the thing is just that Trump was determined. It was determined by the powers that be, you know, with the corporate media, the deep state, all of the establishment, that he was unacceptable. And that's not new to Donald Trump. There were a lot of candidates who have been determined to be unacceptable. Ron Paul was unacceptable. Bernie Sanders was unacceptable. Tulsi Gabbard was unacceptable. And you saw, like, the machine be weaponized against all of them to keep them out. But Trump beat the machine. Yeah. Trump, the difference is Trump won. I mean, there's other differences, but the guy who they determined was not acceptable ended up winning. And part of what was so powerful about that is that it kind of destroyed the illusion of inevitability that I think progressives rely on. That, you know, like, progressives will very confidently tell you that you're on the wrong side of history, you know, which is like a really interesting thing to say if you think about it. Like, you're on the wrong side of history, meaning like it's a guarantee that history is moving in my direction. And I'm telling you how you will be judged in the future based off how you feel right now. Yeah. And they kind of have good reason to feel that way because they have been kind of moving in the direction that they want to move in. But it was just like, we just had the first black president, and now we will have the first female president. And of course, this throwback bigot, male chauvinist Donald Trump could never possibly win. Like, this is what's going to happen in history now, is Hillary Clinton is the next president.
How are they
not happening?
How are they going to stop him from winning again?
They're
trying.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's what all these indictments are right now.
The problem is it has the opposite effect on his base. It doesn't make people reluctant. It makes people more convinced that there's a conspiracy against him. It makes people more convinced that there's corruption that's fighting against him.
I think...
And that's where I wanted to interrupt. You know, he's framing it like the people are more convinced, almost saying like that's not actually happening, but because they've done this, it seems that way. But in my opinion, this is just proof. This is proof. I mean, someone in the comments actually told me that Joe Biden was quoted as saying, He said that he'll do everything in his power to make sure he's not president again. Allegedly. I'll put that out there. Allegedly. I just read that. But that has been the MO of everyone in the Democratic government since he left office. Since he left, he's just been blamed for everything. Every shortcoming that Biden comes upon, he's blamed for it. It comes to the point where he's running again. Indictments are coming. It's not, there's no need to convince. You're seeing legit proof that one person in power is making sure another person that is for sure going to come into power doesn't. He's looking at reportedly, last time I checked, it was 700 years if everything was like to the maximum. If he was guilty to the maximum of everything, it'd be 700 years in prison. All that tells me is that the government is saying to him, stop trying to run for president. Stop trying to get in the way of what we are doing right now. And in my opinion, what they're doing is trying to bring the Agenda 2030 to fruition throughout America. That's what I think. I think it's a very dark step to a very dark future. And if Trump gets in, I think that'll be, at the very least, prolonged long enough for more people to wake up and to stand up. That's what I think. Just going to get right back in. Let's go.
Personally, that Trump was at his most vulnerable within the Republican primary at the very beginning. I thought for the first time to me, he seemed like he was very out of step with his own base. He's sitting there still bragging about Operation Warp Speed and how he saved hundreds of millions of lives by developing the vaccine. He was getting booed a few times in his own speeches. He just seemed kind of out of touch. And it seemed like, it seemed like the energy of his campaign wasn't 2016, which was Make America Great Again. This was like my vengeance tour. They screwed me. I lost, but I really won. I'm going to come back and win again. And it seemed to me like that wasn't really connecting. And then, this is before DeSantis got in the race, but it was heavily speculated that he would be getting in the race. And, he was like this guy who had a very good record on COVID, at least compared to all the other governors, just about all the other governors. And there just seemed to me like there was an opening there. There was like a vulnerability. And then they raided his house in Mar-a-Lago. And I felt like that guaranteed Trump front run, like that guaranteed it for him, because as soon as they did that, it was like, oh, now it's like it's shifted right back to this, like, look what they're doing to your guy. They want to not give you the chance to vote for this guy. They're going to weaponize the justice system against this guy because you like him. They're not, and they're doing it to him because they want to do it to you. It kind of gave him like all this energy back. And so there's a real dynamic to that where his numbers go up.
See, and that's another thing I wanted to bring up. That's true. That is what they were doing. It's not like it seems like, and he got energy because of that. It's because the people saw, oh, this person who is doing a lot for Black people, for Latino people, for working class white men and men of all colors, races, creeds. He's coming back. He wants to help us again. He wants to bring the prices of gas down. He wants to, do something with all this crazy inflation that's going on. And they're raiding his house over nothing. They're indicting him over nothing. They're just frivolously just going at him any way possible. Any way possible. He has too many files. Oh, he didn't give those files back in time. Oh, you know what else? He called somebody. He called somebody and asked for the person to find fraud. You can't do that. And in fact, you actually can do that as the president. If there actually is fraud, and he's like, because that's what that phone call in Georgia was about. He was calling to say, hey, you got to find these votes. He's calling about fraud. He believes that fraud took place. He's completely allowed to suggest, I think fraud took place, and I want you to find these votes. It's interesting. But yeah, I just wanted to bring that up. He's talking as if that's not actually what happened. Like, people are seeing it. It's not that it's just giving energy. It's not, people are really seeing it and feeling it. You're seeing someone who you want in power being taken out by their political opponents. It's craziness. It's craziness. All right, sorry. Let me get back.
Every time a new indictment comes out.
Yeah.
People aren't buying into it because it's not like, look, it's just so obvious that it's politicized. The interesting thing, there's an interesting thing about the law. Like, people have this conception of what the law is, and then there's the reality of it. Like, people have this conception of, like, there's a rule written down on a piece of paper, and that's the rule. If you break that rule, you broke the law. If you don't break that rule, you didn't break the law. But that's not really how it works. It's like, in the same way, like, down to the lowest level, if you get pulled over by a cop, there's times where, like, he could give you a ticket or he could let you off with a warning, And, like, sometimes it's just how that guy feels.
Right.
Maybe he knew you.
Right.
Maybe sometimes she goes, oh, shit, Joe Rogan. I'll let you off with a warning. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, there could be so many different factors. Well, like, just for example, okay, so James Clapper, he was the director of national intelligence. As basically the head of the shadow government. That's the highest position in the deep state. You're the CIA answers to you. You oversee the CIA and the NSA and the FBI and all this stuff. And he lied to Congress very blatantly. Like, no question about it. He was asked point blank, is the NSA involved in any bulk data collection on American citizens? Said, no, we're not doing that. And then Ed Snowden came out and exposed that he clearly was. And he was the DNI. Like, he knew this, okay?
All right, that's actually true. Let's actually bring that up really quick, because that's something that you should know whether it's true or not. And Dave Smith isn't the type to lie, but I just wanted to verify this. Let's go.
Mr. Clapper, because there's no question we are going to watch what the courts do in the days ahead. The question is, what will be the rights of Americans while that is still being fleshed out? And the fact is, FISA does not specify whether a warrant is required. And I know I'm out of time for this round. I just want you to know, Director Clapper, respectfully, I will be asking this question of you, just like we did with respect to the legal documents for targeted killings, which we finally got after 7 requests over a 2-year period, until we get an answer, because I think Americans are entitled to a direct answer to that question. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Would you like Director Mueller to respond?
I think
it would be helpful.
Madam Chair, I think the director did, and he gave a very thoughtful answer, which is that the courts are still wrestling with the various interpretations of it. I think that is a correct answer by Director Mueller, but we still have the question remaining, what are the rights of Americans as of today while the courts are wrestling with this, and that is the matter we have not gotten an answer to. I thank you, and just for you, Director Clapper, again on the surveillance front, and I hope we can do this in just a yes or no answer, because I know Senator Feinstein wants to move on. Last summer, the NSA director was at a conference, and he was asked a question about the NSA surveillance of Americans. He replied, and I quote here, "The story that we have millions or hundreds of millions of dossiers on people is completely false." The reason I'm asking the question is, having served on the committee now for a dozen years, I don't really know what a dossier is in this context. So what I wanted to see is if you could give me a yes or no answer to the question, does the NSA collect any type of data at all on millions or hundreds of millions of Americans?
No, sir.
It does not.
Not wittingly. There are cases where they could inadvertently, perhaps, collect, but not wittingly.
All right. Thank you very much.
Doesn't even seem like he's telling the truth. I'm glad it came out that he wasn't. Again, I love living. I love life. I have no thoughts of anything otherwise. Let's get back into the Joe Rogan clip. Let's go.
He lied to Congress. Why isn't he arrested for it? It's like, because there's no political will to arrest that guy. He's of the deep state. He's one of the top guys. He's not getting arrested. Now, Michael Cohen lied to Congress. He got a month wrong when he was talking about a deal that he was working on for Trump. He said it happened in June, but it was really in January or something like that. He got charged with that. And because they wanted to put pressure on him to get him to flip on Donald Trump, which he did. So it's not like there are crimes that are committed all the time. There's just no political will. There's no desire to arrest that person. And I think the thing that's wild about this with Trump is that if you think of all the crimes that presidents have committed, the idea that this is what one of them is actually going to go down for is insane. Like, Bush instituted torture. You know what I mean? Obama murdered American citizens without charges. These guys lied us into wars. By the way, every war is illegal. The supreme law of the land is the Constitution, and it says only Congress can declare war. The last declared war was World War II. Every war since then has been an illegal war. So anyone could be arrested.
Dave Smith, he's like a factual Alex Jones, like straight factual. If you don't know what he's talking about when it comes to wars, as he's speaking about this, And I'm sure you're like, yeah, there have been plenty of wars and they've all been fine. And we know about all of them, Iraq and this and that. But those are actually classified as military actions. So they're not actually classified as wars. They're classified as military actions. That's the legal loophole that is used for all of that. So that's everything from Vietnam to everything, Iraq, like everything. Everything's been classified as legal, as military actions. Now, the one thing that he brought up that makes so much sense is the will. And it makes you question, and I know everybody already knows, if you're watching this, you clicked on a Trump thing. I'm sure you're not hate watching. Maybe you are. If you are, hey, hi, how you doing? But the will to prosecute people, because it's true, a lot of people are breaking a lot of different laws in the government. And I'm sure they know that of each other, but this is the one that they have the most will for. And the only reason it upsets me, I like Trump a lot. I like Trump. I'm not one of these people that praises him like Jesus, but I like Trump a whole lot. But mostly why I like him is because he's trying to do things for the people, and there are entities actively trying to get him to stop doing things for the people, trying to keep him out of a position of power so he can do things for the people. And that pisses me off. The same way I get pissed off when I see Oliver Anthony getting attacked by the left for just bringing a song that just, intensifies everybody's hearts and souls on the left and the right. Black, white, Asian. I've seen so many different reactions. Everybody loves that song. Everybody loves this guy's voice. And then the more we learn about him, the more we love this guy. And to see anybody attacking him is just crazy. Trying to stop him from what? Again, another person doing something for the people. Another person that has this narrative of, I wish people would rise up. I wish people would change. I wish everything that's been going on with the establishment, right and left, would stop. It's just when you see guys like that get attacked, especially the way Trump is, like, it's just crazy. When you see guys like that get attacked because they're trying to help you and I, when they're trying to help North America, because, oh gosh, the way Canada will get its stuff together if Trump gets back in office. You can only hope. It's just annoying. It's so annoying to see that happening. It's enraging to see that happening with somebody who's actually trying to help the people. Because what it tells me right away, I don't know about you, but what it tells me right away is that they're going to do that time and time and time again. Every time there's somebody who wants to help the people, they're going to stop him in some way. They're going to scandal him. They're going to brand him as a racist or whatever, what have you. They're going to put indictments on him. They're going to make him disappear. They're going to do whatever they can. And arguably, they've been doing it for a while. I mean, we saw what happened with JFK, obviously. But when you're in this time now, and your guy is here to help you into a better age for the country, for the world. I mean, leader of the free world, right? And there's an entity trying to stop him. That entity can only be registered as evil. That's the only thing that you can register this entity as. Because the racism fell away. There's too many black people. I have a friend who's Israeli Jewish who's getting a Trump tattoo. He just messaged me yesterday. He's like, I'm getting a Trump tattoo. He's like, I love this guy. Like, are you kidding me? There's too many people from different nationalities, different walks of life that just love this guy. So when you see people coming down on him like this, it's like, when's it going to stop? And to what Dave said, when he said, he was kind of making it seem like, this is the narrative that's being painted is that if they're doing it to him, they'll do it to you. It's exactly what will happen. If you get comfortable with indictments just coming down on people as they're running for political office, that's a terrible place to be in. Because you know what's going to happen? It's going to happen to another guy that rises up. He's going to get indictments. It's going to be like, oh, well, I don't know. It's just a bunch of bad people on that side, I guess. And then it's going to keep happening. And it's going to happen to lower level politicians and lower level politicians. until you're at work and all of a sudden you're like, I don't know, I don't really listen to hip hop. And then a bus rolls up and they throw you inside. They drive off. What happened to Jim? I don't know. He said something. I guess he's racist. The boss told me he's racist, so he took him away. Kidding, of course. But you know what I mean. Once you get comfortable with something like that happening, it's a very dangerous place to be in. Very, very dangerous place to be in. I just wanted to make that video. Again, you know, they don't like when I make the Trump videos, so we make them again. And we make them again. But if you haven't liked the video already, like the video. If you haven't subscribed already, subscribe. Hit that subscribe button right now. And other than that, I'm out. But let me know in the comments. What do you think? What do you think of all this? You know, and I'm not just asking so the algorithm can get all hit up with comments and stuff. I want people to keep talking about the good side and talking, speaking what they're seeing when it comes to Trump. What are you actually seeing that's happening? It's important for channels and pages to have a bunch of people speaking about what we're seeing, and that we're seeing this man get unfairly prosecuted because he's trying to help the people. The more people speak up about that, the better. That's all. Other than that, I'm out.